2. Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me out there? Let's see here. Hello, hello, hello. All right, you guys can hear me pretty loud and clear. Welcome to episode number 112 of the Newscast with Hakeem Johnson. I'm yours truly, Hakeem Johnson, here today. I do want to apologize. I know this episode was supposed to go out last weekend, but things happened, things changed. Ye dropped an album, and I was kind of on that, but other things happened too, to where I couldn't promise the newscast on last Sunday, so I figured, well, we got to do it before this weekend, so I thought Thursday was pretty perfect. I'm free, I have no work today, so I said, screw it, why not? But we've got a lot of topics to get to. We'll talk about SummerSlam and the recap of that event. I know it's a bit late, but regardless, we'll talk about it in the aftermath. We'll also talk about AEW All Out coming out this Sunday. We'll do a little bit of a predictions card here for that event. Also, we'll talk about NXT going through some future changes and why it could be good for some of you, but it could ultimately be bad for a lot of you. We'll talk about that as well. STARDOM making history, going to be at Osaka Hall this upcoming October. We'll get into that a little bit more, along with the return of Hazuki in STARDOM, which was big news last weekend. And we will also go through your questions and answers as we always do. So there is that, but obviously we really cannot move forward. We really cannot talk about any topics. We really cannot go do anything other than right now share some thoughts and memories and prayers for Shannon Spruill, who a lot of you people know as Daffney from WCW and TNA. Unfortunately, she passed away today at age 46. As people noted last night, as I was aware of last night, some very disturbing clips. A disturbing Instagram live video was out, unfortunately, of Daffney in a very unsafe and not good environment and mental health headspace, and ultimately took her life, unfortunately, despite all pleas from a lot of the wrestlers, fans, and everybody in between to try to reach out to her and help her. It was confirmed by her mother on Facebook earlier this morning that she has indeed passed away at age 46. This, it's, as a pro wrestling fan, you hear about a lot of these stories, you hear about a lot of these things, and you somehow get desensitized because you're always experiencing it. You always lose people that you're favorites of, that you're fans of. And but even this, even if you really didn't know Daffney very well as a fan, I can only think of what a lot of people who are actual friends and family to her um, must be going through right now. It's disheartening, and I don't want to parlay too much about what she may or may have not gotten through because I didn't know her personally. I don't want to speak for the dead or anything like that, but it just goes to say a lot about mental health and how it's still a stigma in professional wrestling, let alone really in society. Um, my memories of Daffney, I remember as a kid, during the last years of WCW, I would always know her as the Screaming Woman in WCW, piercing through your ears, but nonetheless made every time count on the screen alongside with Crowbar and David Flair. Um, I never will forget when she came into TNA as the governor at the time to trick the beautiful people, but then she came in as Daffney and had some of her epic bouts in TNA. If you have a chance, go through her work in TNA back in 2009. It was some really fun stuff. It shows you a lot about how essentially, Daffney was able to make things count and was able to make things work into her own favor. And, whether it was the Monsters Ball match that she had with Abyss or her feud with Taylor Wilde, um, it goes to show, and it's not a surprise to anybody, that she's being seen as a very peaceful, kind-hearted person all across the wrestling industry. Um, it's truly sad, and I know a lot of people here today may be going through something, maybe a similar path. And I do want to tell those people that, I understand people are in a dark period in their life. I understand that people um, feel like there's no way out. They feel like there's no peace. There's no peace within themselves, that it's hopeless. There's going to be nothing for them in the end. But I would like to tell those people that, you're never alone. And I know that depression and mental health can make it seem like you're alone, but um, trust me, it's just the furthest thing from the truth. And I do want to wish her family, her friends, obviously, her coworkers, everyone that she was able to touch. I want to wish them all my deep, sincere condolences and concerns for what they must be going through emotionally and mentally. It has to be tough to lose somebody that truly was a light for a lot of people, and it just is a sad state to see that pro wrestling still hasn't been able to figure out mental health. And I think it's long overdue. I think a lot of people recognize the physical toll of wrestling, but never really the mental side of things. And I want to give credit to WWE for a quick moment, because, it's not about, wrestling or console company wars. I need to give credit to WWE here. They, right now, are opening up their mental services for a lot of their talent on the roster and on the staff, and looking for anyone to talk to if they need to during this time. And that's obviously the right thing to do. Personally, I tweeted something early in the morning when I found out the news, unfortunately. Obviously, there's a suicide prevention hotline number, 1-800-273-8255. That's once again, 1-800-273-8255. That is the suicide prevention hotline number. If you ever feel like you need to talk to somebody, if you ever feel like you're alone, if you ever feel like you can't reach somebody physically or close by, try to give that number a call and see if you can find some sort of peace within you. And hopefully it's for the better. But in terms of a lot of things, depression makes you feel like everything is a lie. It feels like it tells you that you're alone when that's not the truth. But it's so heavy and deep into people's mindset and their own worth that they start to believe it. But that's just simply not the case. There is an abundance of a support system, wherever you may get it, that still want to see you succeed and live in life. And unfortunately, while this tragedy has occurred, I hope this could be maybe a lesson down the road that people can take into account that there are people that love them, even if they feel like that's not the case. It's not lost on me that tonight that we lose Daffney on the birthday of Hana Kimura, who unfortunately passed away in a similar manner last year in May. So that's a scary thing to think about. But I do want to tell my audience, I do want to tell my chat, I want to tell anybody that can hear my voice here today, we love you. We want to see you healthy. We want to see you happy. We want to see you get better. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you be here for you, and we want to see you be here for us. Don't ever think that you can fight this fight by yourself. Trust me. I know. I may not know exactly what you have gone through per se, particularly, but I know the feeling. I really do. And it feels like you're trapped, but you're not. Just reach out. All you have to do is reach out, and you'll find somebody that's willing to pull you out of the darkness. There's always somebody. There is always somebody. So, today, it's been a pretty somber mood. Even me doing this newscast, it's, I will get through some wrestling topics here in a minute, but it just, it's secondary. It really, honestly, it just feels like lessons haven't been learned. Social media, for many positives that it does create, it has created a lot of negatives as well. I personally did not see that Instagram live video of her last night. I have no plans to watch it. I just will not watch it. I know there are certain accounts on Twitter and social media that are trying to spread that video. And it's like, please don't. Like, why? If the family and friends are telling you not to share it, if they're telling you to take it down, if there's no point to it at this point, why? It's like, I'm not the proprietor of morality. I'm not a saint myself, clearly. But there are certain lines of decency and morality that I just simply won't cross. And, a lot of people, I understand we live in this era, unfortunately, of instant gratification. So people have to get their attention. They have to get their drug in terms of clout. But it's like, look at yourself. Before you press that button, do you really think that's a good idea? Do you really think that's a smart idea to do? Take it down. And if you're not going to take it down, people will make you take it down. Period. So, at least for 24 hours, be aware. Be sensible. Be smart. Be compassionate. So, again, I do want to send my condolences to the family and friends of Daffney, Shannon. It's sad. It's sad that we continue to lose our beloved favorites in this manner. And it feels like even though we're going to retweet things and we're going to spread awareness, it feels like lessons won't be learned. And I wish they were. I wish one day mental health is something that can really be focused on, not just in wrestling, but in society in general. Because I feel like if we can fix and really address mental health, it can really solve and fix a lot of problems that we have in this world going on right now. But I'm just one person, I guess. But again, I did want to send my condolences to Daffney before we even get further on this newscast. I'm sure you're gonna be seeing a lot of tributes for the next couple of days online, on television, in wrestling. You'll see them. You know, Daffney really inspired a lot of people with her own gimmick. People got to understand during the late '90s and 2000s, you know, Daffney was in the perfect place at the perfect time during the era of hip hop and goth and punk rock and alternative rock. Daffney really fit the mold of where the wrestling business was going in terms of the mood of the people that were watching. You can see her influence everywhere when you're watching wrestling today. You can see it in the former Nikki Cross. You can see it in Rosemary. You can see it in Mischief back in Ring of Honor, who she partnered with all those times. You can see it in Su Yung. You can see it in a lot of people that have been inspired by her work and have been inspired by what she put into the ring every single time. So, again, her legacy will not be forgotten, and her influence will always be remembered as a positive influence in not just the ladies that looked up to her, but the wrestling business in general. And for that, I have to always give Daffney all the love in the world. Thank you very much for your time here, and I appreciate the entertainment. I appreciate the kindness and generosity you put forth in and outside of the ring. So, rest in peace to Daffney, Shannon Spurl. Much love to her. So I just wanted to get that out there. All right, it's going to be a little weird to try to switch gears from that, but we're going to have to do so. Let's talk about SummerSlam. Again, I was supposed to do this newscast last weekend, but things changed, so I won't do a deep dive at SummerSlam because it's pretty much old news. So we'll just go through basically. We'll just go through the results here, if you will. Big E defeated Baron Corbin in the pre-show match. RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Matt Riddle defeated AJ Styles and Rollins to become the new Raw Tag Team Champions, which I thought was a good opener. Alexa Bliss defeated Eva Marie. The less said about that match, the better. It's just another continuation of this god-awful gimmick with Alexa Bliss, and I've already said my piece about that enough. Damian Priest defeated Sheamus to become the new United States Champion. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was a great match like people thought it was. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. Especially those first few minutes. Those were quite sloppy, if I gotta be honest with you. But Damian Priest was probably the right move. They clearly are behind him. And, I can understand the decision there. The Usos, Jay and Jimmy, defeated Rey and Dominic Mysterio to retain their SmackDown Tag Team titles. Again, standard TV title match. Rey Mysterio was the star of that match for sure, carrying all three of them, quite frankly. I thought Usos kind of had an off night, in my opinion, but Rey Mysterio was the star of that match. And then we get to this match here. It was supposed to be Sasha Banks taking on Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title, but due to quote-unquote unforeseen circumstances, if you will, Sasha had to pull out. So Bianca basically didn't have an opponent until Carmella was called out. The crowd wasn't necessarily happy about that replacement, but even I was thinking, okay, this has to be a swerve, a fake, if you will. I thought Becky was going to be here. And lo and behold, Becky Lynch returns to WWE after having her child, and returns in good shape, by the way. Great shape at that. At SummerSlam, takes out Carmella, challenges Bianca to an impromptu title match right then and there. I was kind of iffy on that, but it's like, you know what? Sasha not being there, plans had to change. Fine, we'll get a nice little match to, start that program off. But to my shock and unsurprising expectation, Becky squashes Bianca Belair in under 30 seconds to win the SmackDown Women's title. Okay, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what defense mechanism you want to put up there. I don't care what type of cope you want to deal with. I don't care how much of a stan you are or how much of a fan you are of Becky or the Four Horsewomen. I don't care. All this did was make Bianca look like a geek. And then we go forward a couple of days after SummerSlam. Now Becky Lynch is a heel? Wait. You mean to tell me that Bianca Belair, who looked convincingly dominant in the Rumble this year to win that Rumble match, goes to WrestleMania to main event night 1 of that night against Sasha Banks in a very good, if not great, match for the title. Looks like a true star for that company in the future. Also, you can get to her first big title defense at a pay-per-view since WrestleMania in SummerSlam. But now that the actual star in Becky Lynch is back, now we don't need Bianca Belair. Now Bianca Belair, she was just a placeholder, if you will. We really had no intentions of putting Bianca over as a star. She was just a placeholder for when the real star came in. And lo and behold, Becky comes in, squashes Bianca. Bianca looking like a geek prior, shaking her hand, taking a fist to the face, taking a Uranagi, and looking like a geek in under 30 seconds. Explain to me. I don't need to hear from drones because they defend anything that's garbage, but explain to me how that made Bianca Belair a bigger star after than it did before. Please explain to me how that is even possible, knowing you know damn well better of this company. A lot of coping going around that weekend. It's weird to me. Wait a minute. Wasn't Becky a Raw talent? So why would she challenge for the SmackDown title? And then the brand change happens after the title change. Look, I personally wouldn't have done the match at SummerSlam anyways. But if you were going to go there... fine. I wouldn't have liked Bianca and Carmella at SummerSlam, but Sasha couldn't be there. You had to call an audible. Fine. Do Bianca and Carmella for the 10th time. Have Bianca win convincingly against Carmella. Then have Becky come out. And then set up the match for the next pay-per-view. It's that easy. But no, what's going to happen now is that now that Bianca just looked like a geek, now the WWE are going to overcompensate for what they did wrong by having Bianca probably win the title back a month or two down the road when people stop giving a crap, when the title change will no longer mean anything, when Bianca's stardom devalues even after winning the title. Because no one's going to buy the fact that Bianca is of equal stature of a Becky Lynch now. That's what you told those people at SummerSlam. You had something in Becky Lynch returning to SummerSlam the night after CM Punk returns not to AEW, but to professional wrestling. You had a cool moment with Becky Lynch returning, and you sullied it in under 30 seconds. How do you do that? How do you do that? And I know people are going to say, well, it worked for Daniel Bryan. Bullshit. The reason why Daniel Bryan got over was in spite of that decision. Did you think people accepted him being squashed by Sheamus in 17 seconds? No, they didn't. They hated it. But they were going to try to prove a point to this company that, you know what? You want to screw our guy? Fine. We are going to make sure you hear the name Daniel Bryan, and we will get him over as much as we can until you have to push him. And that's what happened. WWE didn't push Daniel Bryan because they wanted to. WWE pushed Daniel Bryan because they had to. In spite of what they tried to do to him for Sheamus, who nobody was buying at the time. And quite frankly, Daniel Bryan has a special investment, a special connection to that crowd. I don't think Bianca has that yet. She could have down the road if you built her like a star. But now that what you did with her, I don't think, because here's the thing, ever since they did that with Daniel Bryan, they've been looking for that babyface that they can duplicate the same success. And can you name me a babyface that has had anywhere near the success of Daniel Bryan since that time? Come on. Some of you will say Becky herself, but again, Becky had an emotional connection to that crowd as well. And I don't even think Becky's was nowhere near comparable to Daniel Bryan's overness and movement at the time. I'm not saying Becky wasn't over. I'm not saying Becky didn't have that momentum when she did eventually become the man. But I don't think it matches the movement of Daniel Bryan, and let alone CM Punk's rise to the top. I just don't think that. I think a lot of you, and I'm going to hurt a lot of your feelings here on this newscast tonight because I'm tired of it. I think a lot of you people put too much stock into Becky Lynch. Becky is one of their stars, for sure. But is she a transcending mainstream star? No. No. I think a lot of you people overrate Becky Lynch a tad bit. I think you guys do. I don't even think she's the best horsewoman in that group. It's, ironically enough, Sasha, who couldn't make it to this pay-per-view. Look, all I'm saying is you had a star that you could have made with Bianca Belair for a post-horsewoman women's division. Because the horsewomen won't be there forever. I mean, look at them. Here's the thing. Look at the 4 horsewomen right now. Bayley's injured. She's gone for a year. Sasha, once again, is persona non grata. Who knows when she's coming back? And she's probably checked out. She's going to probably go Hollywood somewhere down the road. Becky's return from SummerSlam. And I saw that promo she did on SmackDown to try to justify it. It sucked. It sucked. It was lame, cheap heat, generic, uninspired heel heat promo. Which I don't even think was a true heel promo anyways. It sucked. And people tried to excuse it as Becky being cocky. Fam, the Conor McGregor gimmick is played out. It was played out months before you even got pregnant. It's still played out now. Whether you're face or heel does not change that fact. And then look at Charlotte, which I'll get to in a minute. But look at Charlotte. She doesn't give a fuck to be there anymore. She's long past not caring about what she does in that company. Her booking is poor, even though she's the WWE Raw Women's Champion. She's got one foot out the door. The horsewomen aren't there forever. I bet you half of them will probably leave the company by the end of this decade. You had Bianca Belair. You had Raquel Gonzalez from NXT. You had Rhea Ripley from Raw. All 3 of them winning titles at WrestleMania weekend this year. And what has happened since? Rhea Ripley doing the job once again to Charlotte, which I'll get to that in our next match. Rhea Ripley once again losing another feud to Charlotte, looking like another understudy of that card. Raquel Gonzalez not over whatsoever, despite putting her over as a dominant champion. And now Bianca Belair, the person that I thought would be the successful star out of those 3, now look at what we're doing. Looking like a geek. She's supposed to be the most confident, the smartest, the best, the strongest, the fastest. But yet she takes a fake handshake at Uranagi, and that's it? What? There is no justification. You're either a relative of Becky, a Stan, a drone, or Irish. It's either one or all 4 of them combined. You can't excuse it. This sucked. Becky's return was ruined, and has since afterwards sucked. Bianca looking like a geek sucks. I don't care now. Bianca beats Becky for the title a month or 2 down the road. You've already told me she's a geek. Why would I ever trust you? Not that I trusted you to begin with. Why would I trust you, especially now that you're going to get Bianca right? I don't. Thank you very much. It just sucked. Admit it. Okay? This would be like this will be equivalent to like if Mickie James debuted in AEW and squashed Britt Baker at Revolution next year in under 30 seconds. That would suck too. And on the basis that if that does happen in AEW, I will shit on them just as much as I'm shitting on this company too. Ridiculous. And people defending it because they don't want to lose their contacts with the WWE. They don't want to lose their sources, if you will. They don't want to lose their follows from certain WWE superstars. Grow a spine. Grow some balls. Something. Have some fucking non-shame for once. Please. I'm begging. Oh, my God. When we had Drew McIntyre defeating Jinder Mahal, which was basically a glorified squash. No one cared. Then we have Charlotte Flair defeating Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley to become, once again, Raw Women's Champion. Whatever, you guys might have thought it was a good match. I didn't particularly care. Nikki Ash has not been over whatsoever during this entire run as the almost a superhero role. It's the wrong role. They're trying to duplicate the Mighty Molly Hurricane dynamic, but they're missing the intangibles of what made that work and what's not making this work. She's not over. She's even getting booed now. Not saying that you have to go back to Nikki Cross. That might have gotten old too, but damn, this was not the way to go about it either. Rhea Ripley, she's just floundering now. Losing once again to Charlotte. Another title program. Losing once again to Charlotte, not getting put over by Charlotte. Charlotte wins the title again. It doesn't mean anything. Everybody knows what this means. It's just another way to pad her stats so that she can pass her father to become more than a 16-time champion. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If all the titles that she's won for the most part have never mattered or don't have any meaning behind the reign, then what ultimately did it matter? All you're doing is stat padding. What does it matter? And I can even guarantee you, I can go a step further. I can guarantee you they gave her the title so that she could stick around. Because it's clear. It is clear to me, okay, from the clips that I've seen of Charlotte lately, going around social media, she doesn't care anymore. Her father just left. Andrade, her dude is in AEW. He himself has some issues that I'm going to talk about during the All Out rundown, but Charlotte doesn't care anymore. She's won all the titles. She's done all the top programs. She's main evented at WrestleMania. She's been a part of all the historic moments of the WWE. She's coasting. She's coasting now. Did you people, well, I know a lot of you people saw that abomination on Raw this week between her and Nia Jax. Ugh. I saw some people defend that shit like it was, oh, this is Joshi wrestling. This is purely sold wrestling. A bunch of the mediocre-ass independent wrestlers and dumbass drones that like to defend anything this company does so that way they can get a follow. Or for the wrestlers, they have options so they can go to WWE. Fucking Nia Jax suplexes Charlotte almost carelessly, but because Charlotte is such a pro, she bumped semi-correctly. But if she didn't, she could have busted her neck. That could have been the end of Charlotte. Got some dumbass saying, oh, Nia Jax, the Stan Hansen of WWE. It's like, you people are mental. I thought when they were just going for blow, I thought they weren't shooting. I thought it was just sloppy punches and strikes. But then I went back to watch it, and here's Nia Jax popping Charlotte. You can see Charlotte's neck recoiling. Then I'm seeing Charlotte not cooperating. I'm seeing Nia basically giving up. It sucked. Nia has to go. I've said this for years now. It's time for Nia to go. I'm no longer interested in Nia going to developmental or improving her skills. She doesn't care. She knows she has the protection of the Samoan dynasty and Dwayne Johnson, so she has no reason to care on improving or at this point taking care of her opponents. When you're in a wrestling ring, and trust me, I would know, when you're in a wrestling ring, whatever problems you may or may not have with your opponent is secondary. The ultimate goal is to take care of your opponent, because your opponent is trusting their body towards you, and you are trusting your body towards them. So that way nobody gets hurt. That's the point of working together. That's called a work. But you look at Nia, she's barely mobile. She can barely pull out the most simple of moves. She no longer cares. She knows she's protected. She knows that she'll never be fired unless through a budgetary cut. But in my honest opinion, it's time for Nia to go. You've got women on NXT, NXT UK, some that you're not even using on the main roster at the moment, that can replace her. Get rid of her. But that's what I want to say about that. But Charlotte wins the title. It doesn't matter. We're going to a feud with Alexa Bliss. You know where that's going. Who cares? I bet you Charlotte doesn't even care anymore. She doesn't. She doesn't care that she's champion. She's lost her motivation. And it's clear whenever you watch her now. She might pull out a match that's maybe good or so, but it's no longer consistent. So there's that. Edge defeating Seth Rollins. I was saying to the lead up of this match that I had really no interest with the feud, even though there was history behind it, which is fine. I thought this match would be a very mid match, the gentleman's 3, if you will, for a lot of people. But I was proven wrong in a lot of ways. I thought this was a good match, but I need for people to slow the brakes down. People are saying this is a great match. Match of the year contender. No. No. It's not even sniffing like top 20 in my list. If I really wanted to write it down, I could really just say, no. That's nowhere close to my list on the top. But a lot of you people enjoyed it. It wasn't bad. It was better than what I thought. It over-exceeded my expectations. Now, in the beginning, I thought it was pretty slow. But they picked up the pace. They told a story with Edge's neck. And it really got good in the last few minutes of that match. Edge is able to defeat Seth Rollins. Fine. That's fine. Edge got his comeuppance. Edge got his revenge. All well and good. That's fine. And I have to give mention to the entrance of Edge. Look, a lot of people called it corny. I love the Brood theme song. I just do. It's one of my, it was one of my favorite themes during the Attitude Era. I used to play that theme a lot when I was playing No Mercy, okay? So, whenever you play the Brood theme, I'm going to pop naturally. It just is what it is. And the entrance was really good, too, quite frankly. I thought it was really good. So, there's that. Bobby Lashley defeating Goldberg via referee stoppage to retain the WWE Championship. I thought this sucked. But, I thought Bobby tried. I did think Bobby tried. A lot of people don't think Bobby's good. I think people are wrong. If you saw his run as TNA World Champion, Bobby can be really good on his own. This match, look, it's a Goldberg match in 2021. What do you want me to tell you? It's you're getting what you're getting with Bill Goldberg in 2021. It's gonna be what you think it's gonna be. I will say this, even though I thought it was bad, I didn't think it was as horrible as a lot of other matches I've seen of Goldberg in recent memory, like his match with Undertaker in Saudi Arabia or the one with Bray Wyatt. But again, Bobby tried, but it was just kind of not good, man. And the angle afterwards of Goldberg's son Gabe, whatever, dollar store hook, if you will, getting taken out by Bobby Lashley. Fuck them kids. I thought that was funny. So at least Bobby retained, even though Goldberg couldn't do the job clean. But I guess that's setting up the rematch at the upcoming Saudi Arabia event in October. I can't believe they're going back, but they're going to get their blood money some way, somehow. Heaven be damned. And I do think that's where Goldberg will beat Bobby for the title. So they're gonna give Goldberg the title. They didn't do it at SummerSlam, but they're gonna do it anyways in 2 months. Like, what the fuck, man? What the hell, man? Yeah, whatever. Main event though. Let's talk about the main event though. For the Universal title, Roman Reigns defeats John Cena. With Paul Heyman on the side, where had Roman Reigns lost, he would have to leave WWE forever. God, I hated that stipulation. Why did they add that stipulation in the last second of that feud? They're actually telling a pretty interesting story to where who would win between Cena and Reigns. Would Reigns retain and put Cena out for good? Or can Cena beat Reigns and finally surpass Ric Flair and become a 17-time world champion? There was intrigue there. But once you added the fact that, if Reigns leaves, he will leave WWE forever, it just took away the intrigue. It took away the suspense. Everyone knew at that point Roman Reigns was winning, and he did. I will say, though, this match was my favorite match of the night. I loved this match for a lot of reasons. I thought Roman Reigns continues to look like a main eventer. He continues to look like a big-time main event champion. You saw it at WrestleMania this year, and you saw it here tonight with SummerSlam. And I have to give John Cena all the credit in the world. He put that man over in defeat, big time. I've said it so many times, and I'm going to continue to say it because it's very important for this to get out. John Cena, to me, in my opinion, is the last WWE superstar you will ever see. He truly is that final superstar that you could really call a superstar. John Cena, I thought, to me, this is one of John Cena's best performances in his career. And you think about the matches and moments that John Cena has been a part of in WWE. I thought this match was one of his best performances in his career ever. I'm not saying in-ring work. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about the performance of coming off as a superstar, selling for Roman Reigns when he needed to, coming off of the comeback, putting in work where Roman Reigns looked like he could be in trouble, but at the same time, he looked dominant at the same time. I thought Cena was tremendous. Now, I could have done without the bullshit monologues that we keep getting with Roman Reigns matches. I am tired of that. But with that said, I thought this main event was worthy of a SummerSlam, of a world title match. Reigns and Cena clearly had a better match than they did in 2017. And Reigns wins and retains, which was the right decision and the right call. So I thought, to me, this match was my favorite match of the night. I thought it was the best match of the night, quite frankly. So Reigns retains, Cena's out, going back to Hollywood to do Hollywood stuff. But then, as the show almost comes to a close, we get another return. Brock Lesnar making a return back to WWE at the end to confront Roman Reigns, as Paul Heyman was in shock. So they will play into the fact that Paul Heyman will have to choose a side, if you will, between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Allegedly, Brock Lesnar is being reported to now be a babyface going forward, which, you know what? Screw it. It's fine. Brock's been a heel through most of his return in WWE, so him being a babyface would be something new. It would be something fresh. And Brock and Reigns, in my opinion, they usually don't miss in matches. Maybe one or two times, but usually they have good to great chemistry. So now that the tables have turned with Reigns being heel and Lesnar being face, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So, yeah, I am fine with Brock's return. He's back as a face. I assume that we'll get that match probably either at the Saudi Arabia show, or we might even get that at Survivor Series. Who knows? The rumors that it might be at WrestleMania, which, yeah, I guess you can do that too, but we'll see how far they can go down that road. But anyways, overall, listen, I loved the main event. I was fine with Lesnar returning. Edge and Rollins exceeded my expectations. So those were, to me, the highlights of the show. But I'm sorry, those highlights alone do not carry the show as an all-time SummerSlam show or even a great SummerSlam show. I thought it was pretty average. Maybe solid. But I thought it was an average, middle-of-the-road SummerSlam. Too much filler. I didn't even mention the Morrison and Miz segment, which because it wasn't worthy of anything. Too much filler. Too much acceptable TV quality matches, which you don't necessarily need on a SummerSlam. Becky's return had promise, but it was ruined with the way they did it. I'm sorry. The highlights that I saw were not enough to make me think that SummerSlam was an all-time great. So I thought it was a middle-of-the-road SummerSlam, quite honestly, all things considered. Extreme Rules this month, so I won't be watching that, but we'll see how long they can screw this up for the time being, and we are officially at Survivor Series mode here, so we'll see how that goes. But that was SummerSlam and my recap of the whole thing. But let's talk about All Out. Coming up this weekend, this Sunday, September 5th, a big, very big night for AEW. We're going to go through the card as it stands right now on Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. If there's any matches that are added after this newscast, that's why I didn't review it or anything like that. But let's go over the card here. Where are we? There we go. All right. We've got the new buy-in match here of Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Utah, Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, taking on the Hardy Family Office, Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2. That is a 10-man tag team match. Originally, it was supposed to be the Women's Casino Battle Royal being the pre-show or the buy-in match, but things have changed, which I'll get to in a minute. I suspect the Orange Cassidy-led team will win that match to give people a happy ending or a happy feeling going into the main card of the show. So there's that. And let's get to that main card right now. We've got a 21-woman Casino Battle Royal match for a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship. You can see the list right in front of you. I'll name them one by one. Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Ty Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, or Pen Appley if you want to be Booker, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura, Jade Cargill, Kiera Hogan, Abaddon, Layla Hirsch, Kylan King, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay, Riho, and one more woman to be determined, which would be also the Joker. Now, people have made their speculation of who the Joker is. The strong favor of who the Joker can be would be the debuting Ruby Soho, the former Ruby Riott of WWE, former Heidi Lovelace of the Indies. That's the rumor of the Joker here. But that said, I don't think she is going to win it, though. Nor should she. I think, to me, if you were following my Twitter, at Hakeem Wins Again, Keem Wins Again on Twitter, I basically said Thunder Rosa should win this match. I know a lot of people said maybe Ty Conti. Some people might have said Jamie Hayter. Others could have possibly said Jade Cargill. Or even Ruby herself. But I think Thunder Rosa should be the one to win it. I clearly can see, and a lot of people can clearly see that Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker are going to have another match of epic proportions going down the road. And I do think Thunder Rosa is ultimately going to be the one to end Britt's title reign. So this will be a great start to get there. Besides, a Ty Conti could probably feud with Britt Baker at the end of the year to lead to Thunder Rosa or any other names that are on this list. But I think Thunder Rosa should definitely get the win here. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker is the biggest women's match they can do in AEW right now for the title, so that's probably the direction they should go. So I will pick Thunder Rosa. Jon Moxley taking on the legend, the man, my guy, the god, former Triple Crown champion, Satoshi Kojima. Kojima-san, Brett-san. Now, I have to be honest with you folks. I was disgusted. I was sickened by the lack of respect Kojima got last week when Jon Moxley announced that Kojima would be his opponent at All Out. Look, is it Tanahashi? No. Is it Suzuki? No. Is it Jay White? No. Is it Okada? No. But that doesn't mean Kojima is a scrub. And if you think Kojima is a scrub, then shut the fuck up because you don't know wrestling of that regard. This is a former AEW, this is a former All Japan champion. Feel me? A former Triple Crown champion, like I said, a former IWGP champion. Okay? Former NWA World Champion. Satoshi Kojima. Alright? Kojima has been having a hell of a year as a old lion, if you will. I thought his match with Kenta was one of the best matches of Wrestle Kingdom that year. That's my opinion. In my opinion alone, maybe. But Kojima has also been on a tear on Impact and New Japan Strong this year as well. I have no doubt in my mind Kojima and Moxley will be a sleeper match. Hell, looking at this card, I think Moxley and Kojima has a chance to be a top 3 match of the night. That's how confident I am in that match delivering. So, Jon Moxley going after the outsiders, if you will, of AEW, Kojima being one of them. Besides, it's not like Moxley won't go after Tanahashi down the road for AEW. So, people need to pump their brakes and act like Kojima is a scrub. And the excuses that some AEW geeks and drones were trying to tell me on Twitter was that, well, nobody knows Kojima. Fam, if you want some harsh reality, nobody in U.S. television knows Tanahashi and Suzuki either. They might be bigger on the hierarchy of stars in New Japan, but they're not that much relevant either compared to Kojima. Look, Moxley and Tanahashi was likely going to be the original plan, but the G1's coming up, so Tanahashi had to be there. Suzuki is coming to the U.S. after All Out. So why not go with Kojima? He already fought Nagata. So why not go with Kojima? So I'm looking forward to that match. Kojima and Moxley. That is a match I am looking forward to. However, what I'm not looking forward to, Paul White making his in-ring debut, taking on QT Marshall. Or QT Marshall. Look, I know why this match is on here. This is Paul White's first AEW match, so in a way, it's got some importance. But man, and look. I know this could possibly be a semi-glorified squash. Give QT Marshall some comeback spots here and there, but White ultimately destroys him. But I mean, I think you could have done this on a Dynamite if you really wanted to do Paul White's match as a big thing. You could have probably done it on a Dynamite or Rampage. I just don't think this needs to be on the card per se, but it's on the card. If this is the only match that underdelivers, then I'm fine with it. So it's not like QT is going to be a major player, hopefully, going forward. So if Paul White's going to just come in, squash him, and get rid of him, I'm all for that. But after that, can we please scale back QT and the Factory from Dynamite and Rampage? I know it's the heel heat that QT is going for on TV and on social media as well, but it's like, dude, there is X-Pac heat for a reason. It's not really the same as heel heat. It's just go away heat. Because at that point, you're going to tell people not to want to pay a ticket for a show or not want to watch it live. So just kind of scale it back. And Paul White, as long as Paul White matches are scaled to like very few appearances, fine. I can tolerate that. That goes for Mark Henry, because I know Mark Henry is talking about wrestling too. If it's scaled down to very few appearances, fine. I can deal with it. I can compromise, okay? Next match, Chris Jericho versus MJF, the final fight. Where Jericho loses, he will retire from in-ring competition. Folks, I've been saying it for about 2 to 3 weeks now. Jericho's losing. I know a lot of people think that Jericho is going to find a way to win this against MJF because MJF has been winning all the matches that he and Jericho have been involved with in this feud. But, folks, you got to understand something. This is Chris Jericho we're talking about here. Chris Jericho sees what MJF is going to be for not just AEW, but for wrestling in general. This is the same Chris Jericho that saw how Hulk Hogan, how Kevin Nash, how Ric Flair, how Roddy Piper, and how all of these former and major stars in WCW held on to their spots, not allowing for the new guys, not letting for the young talent rise to the occasion to fight for those spots. It's why Jericho left in the first place to the WWF. He, out of anybody, would know how that feels like to hold their spot and not give it to the rising new talent coming up after him. And the story behind this match has been, and MJF has repeated it verbatim, that he's not only met his match, he has met his successor. MJF is basically spoiling to you that MJF has succeeded Jericho in every step of the way because he is a chess master even greater than the chess master Jericho himself. That has been the story of this match. Now look, if Jericho wins, I disagree with it. I think it would be the wrong decision. But I do think this match will come down to storytelling, how much it'll tell Jericho's still able to keep up or somewhat keep up with MJF, but MJF is always outsmarting Jericho every step of the way. I do expect some inner circle pinnacle shenanigans maybe here, but I ultimately do think MJF is not only going to win this match and retire Jericho in AEW at least, but this will start him going for a run at the AEW World Title, and when he does challenge for that title, he will win it. Because that's what it's building up to with MJF. But we'll see. I am very curious as to how this match will go. Another match that I'm very curious where it's going to go. Miro defending the TNT Championship against Eddie Kingston, the Mad King himself, taking on God's favorite champion. I am looking forward to this match. I think this match is going to deliver. Miro has been on a roll, folks. Miro has been tremendous as TNT champion, which is not a surprise. That TNT title really has a lot of credibility, even somewhat of equal standing to the actual world title. I know Tony Khan did a press or live press conference call earlier this morning, and someone asked him about the TNT title and how it's a mid-card title, and Tony Khan, in one of his rare moments, got irritated and cut him off and said the TNT title is not a mid-card title, and they have worked furiously hard to make sure that was not the case. And I agree with him. I don't see why people think the TNT title is a mid-card title. Just because a title is a secondary title does not equate or mean that it's a mid-card title. There is a difference between a mid-card championship and a secondary or second-tier championship. But because people are so influenced and convinced of the WWE mindset that any title that isn't the world title has to be a mid-card title. And that's simply not the case. Look at the span of Japan. Look at New Japan and how they treat their titles. It's not the case. Look at the title lineage of the TNT title, from Cody Rhodes to Brody Lee to Darby Allin, and now it's on Miro. Now, Eddie Kingston, I wouldn't mind him winning, but Miro is so good right now that I kind of don't want him. I kind of don't want him to lose either right now. And here's the deal, folks. You might as well get it out the way right now. Miro's wife, Lana, or CJ Perry, I guess now, her 90 days were up last night. She's coming. Okay? Miro, for months, has been making the references to his wife. And we know with AEW that a lot of these things have a certain payoff at the end. Lana's coming. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. She's coming. So, probably in that sense, Miro will retain the title. And I'm hoping maybe Eddie will get a rematch and maybe win the title against Miro at Arthur Ashe in Queens, where he'll be the hometown hero. But this should be a really good match. Miro will retain because he's either badass or because Lana's coming. So, there you go. Then we get to this matchup. This might be the match of the night here. The Young Bucks defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Rey Fenix. Folks, this Young Bucks Lucha Brothers match, it's just another additional chapter, another continuation of this rivalry that has started since the very beginning of AEW in general. These are the two top teams of this tag team division and this company, and arguably in wrestling, period. So it only makes sense that these two would continue the rivalry inside a steel cage. I joked about it last night, but I would not be surprised if we get a Canadian Destroyer off the top of the cage. That's how crazy and sick these two teams are. I expect this match to deliver. I expect this match to be one of the best matches of the year. A lot of high expectations on this match. I know a lot of people think it's time for the Young Bucks to lose the titles. And who better to lose it to than the Lucha Brothers? And I think you might have a good point in that. But man, you know, I look at Santana and Ortiz. They had a great match, or good match at least, a very good match with FTR last night at Dynamite. And I think it's been long overdue for them to get a title run as well. And we're close to Arthur Ashe here, to where Santana and Ortiz winning those titles there would make for a great moment. So, while I do think people are right in the sense that it's time for the Bucks to lose the titles here, I think they're going to retain. I do think they're going to retain here and lose it at Arthur Ashe. That's just kind of my gut feeling. That's just kind of how I feel about the whole situation. But we'll see. We will see. But this will be, hopefully, an outstanding matchup. AEW Women's World Title on the line. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, will defend the title against Chris Statlander. A pretty cold feud, quite frankly. Felt like it was put together in the last minute. I will say that at least Britt Baker is doing more straightforward build. I mean, she's way more tolerable than she was the previous month, where she was feuding with Nyla Rose and they were doing McDonald's skits and Vicky Guerrero was wrestling and Rebel was wrestling. Ugh. And granted, I know that Rebel is teaming up with Jamie Hayter to take on Chris Statlander tomorrow on Rampage, but I think it's going to be more so Jamie Hayter doing more of the wrestling than Rebel in that regard, so that's fine in that sense. But Chris Statlander, look, she's gotten better since returning from her injury. She's looking way better physically. She's improved in the ring a lot, in my opinion. And she will be, in my opinion, a world champion down the road. But obviously, I don't think it'll be here at All Out. I think Britt Baker will retain here. And like I said earlier, I think Thunder Rosa is the end game. She will be the one to put a poetic ending towards the reign of Britt Baker and win the title from her down the road. But Britt Baker will retain here. She's white hot. She's a superstar right now. She's got all the momentum. You have to go with Britt Baker. Let me switch these two match orders here. Kenny Omega defending the AEW World Championship against Christian Cage, the Impact World Champion. Now look, I've said my piece about this match. Originally the build was looking to be Kenny Omega defending the title against Hangman Adam Page, and that was some great TV. Obviously, they had to switch gears, and they essentially, because Hangman Adam Page, his wife is having a child soon, so he had to be with her, obviously, understandably so. But then you go with Christian Cage, and it's like, look, I don't hate Christian Cage, obviously. I think Christian Cage has been a very good veteran here in AEW since coming here earlier this year. I think Christian Cage is still a good in-ring worker. Some might disagree with that. I personally think he's been fine in AEW. But him being a world title contender at a pay-per-view in 2021 against Kenny Omega, let's put it this way, if a certain somebody didn't return a couple of days ago, I wasn't buying this as a main event title match. I just wouldn't. And then you did the match at Rampage where Christian defeated him for the Impact World title. So you already did the match there. Obviously, Kenny's retaining. I think AEW are fools that they would probably put the title on Christian Cage. For what reason, I don't know. But Kenny retains. Hangman should be and probably still is the guy to dethrone Kenny Omega from that title. It probably will be moved to Full Gear now. But, Kenny Omega will retain. However, this should not main event the show. Under no circumstances should this main event this particular event. There's only one match that can main event this show. And I'm a traditionalist. I'm one of those guys that think the world title matches should close the show unless for a rare exception. And I'm telling you, this is one of those times. Darby Allin going one-on-one against CM Punk. You heard me. Darby Allin versus CM Punk. Who the hell was calling that on their bingo card 2 years ago? Not me. CM Punk returning to professional wrestling, having his first ever match since 7 years in Chicago at the Now Arena. That is a moment. That's crazy when you think about that. It says a lot. Look, I think we all knew when CM Punk came to AEW that it had to be Darby, and it clearly was. And Darby, credit to AEW, have built Darby out to be one of their hot rising stars in their promotion. That can't be disputed. And there comes CM Punk. A man that left WWE 7 years ago. Hated that company. Still like what he does. Hated the business of wrestling. Was asked multiple times for years, when is he coming back? Does he have one more match in him? As crowds would chant, CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk! And after all that, 2021, CM Punk returns to professional wrestling and signs with AEW. You can't make this stuff up in a movie, folks. You really can't. To me, CM Punk has to win this match. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, Darby's a younger talent. He's a new guy. You should go over CM Punk. No. No. I won't listen to that. Darby Allin's already getting the rub being a part of this match. That's the rub. He's the first opponent for CM Punk. He is CM Punk's first opponent in 7 years, ladies and gentlemen. That's putting somebody over. CM Punk, he could have wrestled a Christian Cage for his first opponent. Could have wrestled somehow, some way, Chris Jericho maybe, because they know each other well. Punk could have wrestled somebody that he was familiar with. But instead, what did he do? And I knew he would try to do it anyways. He picked a guy that not only was hot, but is relatively new to wrestling fans today. And that is Darby Allin. Darby Allin will not lose a damn thing losing to CM Punk in Chicago. You are out of your mind if you think otherwise. And ignore anybody that tells you otherwise. Darby Allin will get the rub of his career wrestling CM Punk and putting on what I would think will be an exceptional performance. And CM Punk, you know, people think he has a lot to prove, and he does, coming back for 7 years. But seeing him last night hit that GTS and looking motivated, happy, and healthy, yeah, I think Punk is going to put on a great performance on Sunday in his city. The prodigal son is back in Chicago. I think he's going to live up to a lot of people's expectations, if not more. That's my opinion. So that is All Out, coming up to you Sunday, September 5th, at the Now Arena in Chicago. Originally, it was supposed to also be Pac and Andrade El Idolo, but Pac had travel issues, so last night it was reported that Pac and Andrade will be off on that card and will be pushed for a future Rampage. So there you go. Tony Khan delivering and telling you straight up what it is instead of waiting. But yeah, that is your card. That has potential to be the best card up and down with AEW ever. I do believe this will break a lot of pay-per-view buys as well. And hell, the reports came in for the ratings from last night. Still did over 1 million. A slight drop from last week, but they still did over 1 million. With almost 0.4 in the demo of 18 to 49. And still got number 1 in the cable rankings. They're just normally getting number 1 cable rankings now. Not just for Dynamite, but also for Rampage. AEW is white hot right now. Their momentum cannot be denied. Anybody saying otherwise are lying through their teeth. Period. And that's how I feel about that. So, that is my prediction for All Out. Now, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What do I hear? What do I hear? What's that? Wait, what do I hear here? Wait a minute. Where did all these packs come from? All these unlimited packs. What do I do? Am I supposed to smoke them? Oh no! Oh, wait a minute! These are the NXT packs! Oh my god! Look at all these packs! Unbelievable! I can't believe what I'm seeing, folks! I'm smoking NXT packs! I'm smoking Triple H packs! I'm smoking Vince packs. Oh my god, thank you, Big Scott. What is going on here, folks? Holy shit. Holy crap. Press X to smoke on the pack, ladies and gentlemen. I can't take it. I'm on my 15th pack. Holy shit. Oh my god. Damn, it's getting hazy up in here, my god. My god, my god. NXT in the mud. In the mud, my god. My god. Hunter. He's down. NXT Japan is in the mud. Oh my lord. I had to do it, folks. You have no idea how much I've been savoring to pull that off on this newscast. Holy shit. Wow. Well, now that I got that out of my system, still limited packs here, folks. And I'm certain that I'm going to be smoking a couple more down the road in the next couple of days and weeks and months. But, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the former beloved NXT brand, if you will. Changes are coming. Changes are coming, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like Paul Revere. I'm like Paul Revere here. The Vinces are coming. The drones are coming. The drones are coming. Oh my lord. Well, let's do a little bit of a deep dive read here, because I feel it's very important. Because here at the newscast, we make things important. Alright. That was funny as hell. From the BleacherReport.com, WWE rumors Vince McMahon, Bruce Prichard will produce revamped NXT. Ooh. Let's read it here. WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon and Executive Director of SmackDown and Raw, Bruce Prichard, will produce the revamped, quote-unquote, version of NXT. Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer broke the news. And here's a quote from Alvarez. It's going to be like the old NXT. I have heard from several people now that when they go back to live shows, which will be probably, I think, in 2 weeks, is what I heard, this is going to be a McMahon-Prichard production. Rose also relayed more information via Meltzer. Additionally, Dave Meltzer reports that McMahon and Prichard will be behind the big decisions, not the little ones, and will be behind marketing, promotion, and direction. Their role in booking may only be regarding those at the top. WWE President and Chief Revenue Officer Nick Khan previously revealed to Ariel Helwani of BT Sports on August 22nd that NXT would be going in a different direction. Here's his quote. We're doing a complete revamp of NXT, led by Triple H, Paul Levesque, who was really one of the architects of the original NXT. Lol. Khan told Helwani. Excuse me. In terms of an NXT rebrand, look for it in the next couple of weeks. It's gonna have a whole new look. It's gonna have a whole new feel. As for what those changes may be, Paul Davis of WrestlingNews.co provided an idea on August 15th after citing a report from Meltzer. And here's the quote here. The idea is to revert back to what NXT was several years ago when it was a true developmental brand, and McMahon wants to focus on signing younger wrestlers, and he wants to focus on signing wrestlers that look like they can headline a WrestleMania. In other words, McMahon wants bigger wrestlers, and he wants them to learn the WWE style and wrestle less like what is seen on the independent scene. The NXT brand was introduced in February 2010. Multiple wrestlers who spent at least a few months there have become some of WWE's biggest current stars, including Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens. So there you go, folks. That is the official reporting of what's going to go down with NXT down the road. And listen, I won't delve deep into it because I didn't watch the full match, but the full show, but I did watch a match from TakeOver this past couple of days. Obviously, Walter and Eli Dragunov 2, the NXT UK title, which ruled so hard. One of the best NXT matches of all time. Maybe arguably one of the best matches in WWE modern history. That match ruled. But it feels like we're going back from that. Now listen, if you followed me throughout all these years, if you followed me in terms of what I've said about developmental. I was a fan of FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. I loved that developmental. OVW, same thing. I did like OVW back in the day. Here's the problem, though. They're trying to revert back to that style and feeling of developmental in 2021. Mind you, this is a WWE that no longer has those same intangibles they once were able to create back then in 2000 with developmentals. I know a lot of people are saying, well, they're going back to the true form developmental like they used to. This could be good. It's not going to be. Time changed. I love FCW. I love LVW. But bringing those type of styles back into WWE in 2021, time to change. I don't want to see that. The industry has surpassed that type of mentality and style. You have to evolve forward, not backward. That's the name of the game. And listen, am I against, athletes like football players and gymnasts and Olympians and CrossFitters? Am I against them getting a shot or not getting? No, am I against them getting a shot or giving them a chance? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. However, to simply gut and strip away everything that NXT represented once upon a time is not an answer. And it's a clear indictment of what Triple H tried to do with this brand and has ultimately failed of accomplishing. I know a lot of you in chat, and I'm sure a lot of you listening, fell for the rehabilitation image of Triple H when he became the face of NXT. Triple H has changed. Triple H, he understands the independent scene. He understands how things go. He understands that they need those type of wrestlers in WWE now. Folks, it's a quote that I've said for years. Assume everything is a work until further notice. Triple H never intended to be the proprietor of independent wrestling. Check his history. It's not what he believes in. I know a lot of people are saying that, we should feel sorry for Triple H, that he's basically getting ousted by Bruce Prichard and Vince McMahon here, but I don't feel no sympathy. I feel no sympathy for Triple H here. He got all the resources in the world, all the money in the world, even though the brand was a money loss for the company. He got all these resources, hoarded all the top talent around the world, got all the production value, was able to put together a supercard in every takeover, tried to shut out other promotions from signing other talent. He did all of that, or at least approved a lot of it, and he still fell on his face. This is the same company that has been arrogant for years, trying to bully other promotions to falling and bending the knee. And here comes one company 2 years ago that finally punches him in the face. And now the company and their fans or drones, they want to play victim. That's not how it works. Triple H wanted a war, okay? Do not fall for the bullshit from people outside of that circle or on social media. Triple H was very in tune to trying to drive AEW out of business, if not fail, immediately. But it didn't work. Why? You can do all the deep dives you want, but the simple fact of the matter is, AEW was just the better product. It was the better product, period. A lot of you guys loved NXT during its peak, but baby, I was seeing the writing on the wall back then. But granted, I did have some favorite stuff from NXT back then, but I saw the cracks forming on the wall. Go back and check my newscast from the past. Go back and check about my opinions of NXT from that era. I didn't hate it like I hate it now, but I saw the cracks forming on that brand. But because people saw the takeovers doing successful. Because NXT was the cool brand, people ignored it, if not didn't want to see it. But as the cracks started to get bigger, and then AEW basically punched it to create holes in the wall, now they had no choice but to not ignore it. So here we are. Fam, we're removed from TakeOver now, and I don't watch the shows anyways, but maybe it's my timeline or anything. Maybe my trending is not working, but nobody's talking about this show anymore. Nobody seems to be talking about NXT after TakeOver a couple of days ago. From what I've gathered, people think it's a boring-ass show. It's just there to exist. It's alright, if not eh. The once cool, vibrant, and active brand of the WWE that was the antithesis, quote-unquote, to Raw and SmackDown have now essentially become a third mainstream, main roster brand in WWE. It's yellow Raw, it's yellow SmackDown, take your pick. It's no longer the cool brand it once was. A lot of you are saying RIP NXT now, and I'm joining you with that call, but fam, it was RIP NXT years ago, fam. And them trying to battle with AEW only validated that thought process. AEW took what NXT did and did it better. That's what a lot of people won't admit. But they did it better than NXT. And now look at AEW. Dynamite hitting their 9th show that went over 1 million viewers. Still within the top 5, if not top 10, rankings of cable. Winning at number 1, defeating shows that they once used to lose to last year, like the Beverly Hills of New Jersey or whatever, or the Challenge on MTV. They're beating them now. And we just got CM Punk. We haven't even gotten to the rumored Bryan Danielson, or an Adam Cole, or a Bray Wyatt, or other free agents that could be out there, or free agents that are about to be free agents from WWE coming into AEW. We haven't even seen their growth yet. We're just getting started. That's how scary All Elite Wrestling is right now. And that's how shook WWE is of that company. I saw a leaked memo or a leaked report of somebody saying that are like higher up in the executive level of WWE. There was a report coming from Andrew Zaharian from Matman that said, oh, AEW, they have children wrestling in the company. That they're going to be another Impact. They're not taking it seriously. They're a joke. That is the exact wrong move to make. That is the wrong answer to that response of AEW. Because now you're completely underestimating them. You think the tactics of the 70s, 80s, and 90s are going to work in 2021. You are sadly mistaken. It's a different industry. It's a different crowd watching wrestling now. It's the battle of two philosophies. I keep saying this on Twitter, but idiots and drones kept trying to misconstrue my words because they suck at memes and quote tweeting, but it's monopolization versus collaboration. I said it last week on our first episode of Shooting the Shit. We are in a new era of professional wrestling right now. Right now, at this moment, wrestling is changing at your very eyes. You are living it in real time. It's not coming in the future. The future is here, right now. Look at what's happening around you. AEW's growth. WWE distancing themselves further from professional wrestling. The resurgence and improvement and insurgence of U.S. independent wrestling coming back. The Joshi scene is changing, which I'll get to in a minute. Japan, they're going through their pandemic era like we did last year. Shit is changing. You see it all around you. And for people to deny otherwise, because more record profits and all, it's foolish. WWE Japan basically just got shut down tonight. And granted, Remember when we were talking about the fear of NXT Japan being a thing? Now that's not going to be anywhere close to a thing. Now, granted, I knew that was going to be the case anyways. I knew that would be the case. There would be no company in Japan, New Japan, All Japan, Noah, Dragon Gate, that would work with the WWE, Stardom. You know? Not to mention other political issues behind the scenes, if you know what I mean. It was never going to be a reality, but people bought into it thinking it would. By the way, now that WWE Japan is no longer a thing, can I get Kairi Sane back? Can I get Kairi Hojo back, please? Free Kairi. Hashtag free Kairi. Shit. Hashtag free Io, for that matter. But anyways, look at the logo. Look at the new logo for NXT. Look at it. Look at it. Listen, I think it is a better logo than that try-hard heavy metal bullshit logo before this one that clearly Triple H approved of. But this really isn't that much better. It just looks cartoonish. It looks half-assed. It looks like Season 1 AEW Dynamite for all you think. You know, so yeah. Not good looking into NXT's future. I know a lot of people are going to try to fight the good fight and think, oh, well, you know, let's give NXT produced by Vince and Bruce a chance. Yeah, I heard the same thing about when ECW came into WWE as well. And how did that work for them? Not that well. And I can only imagine what's going to happen if NXT UK gets found out by Vince, Bruce, and Nick. And you can bet that's coming very soon. So, there you go. All right. So, there's NXT. We'll see how that works. I don't think it'll work fair for the better. Let's talk about some Japanese wrestling. Let's talk about Stardom for a minute here. Before we get to your question and comments here. I actually got a few things to talk about in terms of Japanese wrestling here. But, yes, you can see here Stardom making some big moves here, first and foremost. So let's talk about it for a minute here. Let's go ahead and switch gears here. Go to the browser here from lastwordonsports.com. Some Stardom news here. First things first, they announced a lot of things on August 29th during the 5-Star Grand Prix event. First off, the dark match on Stardom. Now, Wrestle Grand Slam at MetLife Dome, that'll be also happening this weekend as well during All Out. That'll be headlined by Shingo and Evil for the IWGP Heavyweight title, and also Ibushi returning to the ring, taking on Tanahashi, the newly crowned IWGP United States Champion. So there is that. But there are going to be some Stardom dark matches that are going to be happening on that event, and usually due to TV contracts in Japan and other things, you don't get to really see it online, or at least on any legal site. But the big news coming in from that night was that the Stardom dark matches will be taking place on New Japan World for both nights on September 4th and September 5th with English commentary. That is big news there. And I believe the matches, if I can recall here, they are Micah and Lady C taking on Momo and Tam. Actually, and then I think it's Momo and Saya. Momo and Saya taking on Lady C and Micah, and then Momo and Saya taking on Julia and Siri. I could be wrong with those matches, but that's the one I thought of with my head. But I could be wrong, so I apologize if I'm wrong. Also, and yes, Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton will provide English commentary for those matches on New Japan World. Also, the big news, big news, my girl Hazuki is back. What the fuck? This happened after the match with Lady C and Mayu Iwatani. As you can see there, Hazuki jumped into the ring, took everyone by surprise. I remember when I watched this live at night, I was like, holy shit, what? I never thought I would see Hazuki back in a Stardom ring again. Especially after how everything ended with Hazuki and Stardom. Especially how Hazuki kind of felt about Stardom and Bushiroad during the Hana Memorial show this year. I never thought I'd see Kagetsu and Hazuki back, but Hazuki apparently is back. Apparently she doesn't like the quality of the company with all the outsiders coming in, which tends to let me know that she will go into a feud maybe with DDM and Julia in particular, who did respond to Hazuki online as well on Twitter. So, holy crap, they're not playing around. They are not screwing around whatsoever. Hazuki is back. That automatically makes Stardom to me more interesting now than they were before. So, we'll see how that goes. And then, the big news, the big news. Stardom will be running at Osaka Hall in October 9th in particular. This is the first Joshi show to happen since 1995. That is almost 30 years that this is happening. About 25 years we're going to see a Joshi show at Osaka Hall. It'll be a part of Stardom's 10th anniversary celebration, and the prediction from this site will be that we might see the Grand Prix winner take on either Utami for the red belt or Tam for the white belt. Probably for the red belt, if I'm going to be honest, but yeah. And then obviously Starlight Kid defeated Natsupoi to become the new high-speed champion, which I thought was a great match between those two. Heel Starlight Kid as a part of Odeotai. I have been completely wrong about this. I thought this would be a detriment to Starlight Kid, but let me not play it because I don't want to get taken down like others now. But yeah, Starlight Kid as a heel. Yeah, I'm digging it. Many buys, many dimes, and many buys. I'm with it. So that is all the Stardom news so far. Yeah, Stardom's not playing around. Bushy Road is not playing around right now. Despite my opinions about Stardom lately, they're clearly here to take over. They're clearly here to make some news. And I think it has something to also do with this next topic that I do want to bring up. For those that do follow Tokyo Joshi, Mirai Mayumi leaving Tokyo Joshi Pro this upcoming week. As a matter of fact, her last show will be on September 4th. This also was a big shock to me, and it just really kind of encapsulates what's going on in Joshi wrestling at the moment. You have Ryo moving full-time to the U.S., you have the recent news of Mei, Makoto, and Hibiki leaving Marvelous the day before. I believe Yuri, who was a future ace for JTO, left as well. And now Mirai, who I thought was one of the future pillars for Tokyo Joshi, is now going to be leaving at the end of the weekend here. Yeah, this came as a big shock. You can see it here on the D Pro English account here. Her contract has ended as of August 31st. Her last Tokyo Joshi Pro Championship match, her last Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling show will be September 4th at Itabashi. And now, I do have to mention this because they did mention it as well. The rumor is that the reason that Mirai is leaving is because she might be making her way to Stardom. And knowing how the whole relationship between Tokyo Joshi and Stardom has been, I could buy it. I mean, it says it right there. You got Yanagi Sayaka and Mina Shirakawa going to Stardom last year, being a part of the Cosmic Angels. Mai Sakurai from Act Wrestling, or AWG, I believe, also left to go to Stardom. Natsupoi, she left there 2 or 3 years ago. So it's kind of crazy that Mirai leaves, as there are rumors that Stardom is starting to pick up steam here, and that they're looking for new talent, and they are going to recruit talent going forward. So, very interesting to see how that goes. Hey, look, I think with Mirai, she has a lot of potential and options to go do what she wants to do. I know a lot of people have mentioned Gleet, which is a possibility. Personally, for me, I'd like to see her in Seed Leanin'. I'd like to see her there. I think her against Ryo Mizunami and Arisa Nakajima, I could think that could do some good business for her. I could see Stardom, though. I could see her going to Stardom. And I'm kind of buying. If people are starting to talk about those rumors already and are starting to kind of connect the dots, I could see her at Stardom by the end of this year. because she would fit with Stars. I think she could fit in with Mayu and Stars, which is pretty much it's discombobulated at the moment, but they could use some more members. So, and I think there are a lot of potential matches that Mariah can have in Stardom as well. So we will see how that transpires. I'm sure we'll hear more about the news going forward. I do also want to make note that we got a Seed Lane show, Shinki by Night, happening tomorrow, which I will try to watch if I'm not busy. But full card here, Riko Kaiju taking on Riko Kawahata. That'll be interesting to see the rookie of Los Egos take on the Sendai Girls Junior Champion. Or sorry, that was Yorika Oka at the anniversary show. But yeah, we'll see how this one goes here. I believe it says right here, Kawahata has not wrestled since the end of July, so we will see how she gets progressed and all that. Also, we will see Tsukasa Fujimoto, the ace of Ice Ribbon, the champion currently, in a high-speed rules scramble match with Isuki Aoki, and Hanako Nakamori, which should be an interesting match. It's a high-speed rules scramble match. You've got Natsuki Taiyo as a referee there, so that's going to be a lot of things to work with and all that. Las Fresas de Egotistas, Asuka / Vani, Makoto and Ayami Sasumura are taking on Nane Takahashi, Yumiko Hota, the legend, and Haruyo Matsumoto. Could be an interesting six-man there. I've been really impressed with Asuka this year. She had one of my favorite Joshi matches with Ryo Mizunami earlier in the year for the title, which saw Ryo win the title. It was a mere month ago, actually. And also had a great match, a very good match with Kagetsu in the Hana Memorial Show. So I'd like to see how she does here. Makoto doing a lot of work for Choco Pro as of late for the new season, so that'll be also interesting to see how she does. Nane, you already know what to expect from her. Hota, as limited as she is, she can still put in some spots here and there. And Haruyo, what you see is what you get with her at this point, but she should be very decent as well. Then the main event, it'll be a prelude to the upcoming Beyond the Sea title match at the Big Sea Lighting Show in this month. Rina Yamashita and Ryo Mizunami, the Beyond the Sea champion, team up to take on Arisa Nakajima and Yu. If you guys recall, Ryo Mizunami and Arisa had their match a couple of days ago for the title. Very good match, by the way. I put it a step below Vani and Ryo, but I thought that match was really good. Arisa, when she has a great partner like a Ryo for a match, good stuff. I think Ryo Mizunami's been having a hell of a year. She has been having some great matches over at Sendai. She's been having great matches, obviously, here in C. She was great in the AEW Eliminator Tournament. I thought she had one of the better women matches in AEW this year against Hikaru Shida at Revolution. I think Ryo has been a very impressive women's wrestler this year that a lot of people may not talk about. But this is going to be a prelude for the match between Ryo Mizunami and Yu for the Beyond the Sea title on September 22nd. So we will see a little bit of a preview of that here. It's a 4-match card, but it's a 4-match card that I am personally looking forward to, so we will see how that goes for tomorrow night at Sea. So a little Joshi talk there. Pretty good. Quick here as well, New Japan, Wrestle Grand Slam MetLife. I do see Shingo retaining the title against Evil. You better, because fuck Evil. And then Tanahashi and Ibushi, I hope Ibushi's fully healed to where we can have a really good match between those two. I expect to be a really good match. Tanahashi will probably retain, but the battle between the Golden Aces will be very interesting to watch, if you will. So, with that said, it is now time for our Q&A. Now, granted, I know a lot of you guys gave me your Q&As the last week during the Shooting the Shit episode. But if you have questions wrestling related that I didn't get to last week, or new questions that you would like to ask me now that I didn't get to, you have all the more reason to ask me that right now. So go ahead, I'll give you guys a couple of seconds, a couple of moments Well, I drink some water because my voice is rather harsh, but ask me any wrestling-related questions you would like to post in the chat room, and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. So, drink this here real quick. Water. Best drink in the world, especially when it's cold. That's the key. That's the big key. Alright, just waiting on you guys to ask whatever wrestling-related question that you have, and I will do my very best. Which isn't a lot, but screw you. I'm going to answer them anyways. Let's see here. Right, first question, as always, how are you doing, fam? Are you doing good? I'm doing fine, you know. Again, a lot of just, real life stuff keep me tied down as to why I haven't done ACW. So, for the one guy in the chat room that always has to keep asking about ACW and High Voltage, it's real life stuff. Do you think if I didn't have anything tied into real life stuff that I would have had High Voltage done by now? It's just stuff that I have to balance right now, so... be patient. I know you've been patient for this long, but be a little bit more patient. I will get to High Voltage in ACW. I do plan on finishing it this year, so be patient. That's all I'm asking. But, yeah, I'm doing fine. A lot of things, things that can't be helped, but other than that, I'm content. I'm happy. I'm glad to be here. But thank you for asking. It's very appreciative towards asking. I do appreciate that. Let's see here. First, Hakeem, thoughts on Evil heel run? It sucks. I hate it. I think Evil as a heel, when he was champion last year, thought it sucked. I didn't need an Evil heel turn, especially him joining the Bullet Club. Sick of the Bullet Club now in 2021. And him being the champion, I know it's all about giving new people a shot and giving new people a chance. I mean, you did it with Shingo and Ospreay, which were the better options, I guess, but Evil, really? It's not like he's been putting bangers in the ring. Did you hear the collective fart that everybody had when Evil was revealed as Shingo's next opponent? When he had that awesome match with Tanahashi at Wrestle Grand Slam at Tokyo Dome? Does anybody remember that? How everybody just kind of had a collective fart and just looked at him like, this, really? Get out of here. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Evil's heel run. I'm just not a fan. Even which is ironic because he's evil, but whatever. Do you believe that a wrestling match should reflect to the story that was set up for the match? Usually I do. I usually do think that a match should play into the story that it was told prior to. I do believe that, because otherwise, you're basically watching a match that's going cold. There is no story. And look, sometimes it's okay to have a match, to simply have a match. There's nothing really wrong with that. But I do appreciate the emotional investment in a match, and in order for you to do that, you have to have a story that's enticing to the viewer, to the audience. So, I believe a good story and a good match go hand in hand. Most times, sometimes. Thoughts on the trailer WWE 2K22 and the March 2022 release date? Look, I kind of reacted to it a couple of weeks ago. The problem wasn't the release date. I'm fine with the release date being March of next year. It'll be near my birthday, so I'm fine with it. Because if you're going to extend it to take your time and actually put some effort into it, then I have no issue with you delaying it until March. That wasn't my issue. My issue is I have not seen any proof that you're putting the effort into it. There has been little to no updates of what this game actually is going to be. And I saw one of the producers say, oh, well, we're really focusing on the game, so we really can't give you any true updates because we really want to focus that much on the game. blow me. That's an excuse for you not giving me an update because you don't want the backlash of the update may not mean anything or something that could be detrimental to the game that you're working on. So, I know what that was. Don't even try it with me. But look, I want this game to work. I want this to be a good, if not great, game. I would like for ACW to be on this game if it's really that great, if not good. But I have little to no confidence or little to no proof that this will be any different from the previous 2K offerings. That's why I didn't get 2K20, even before the bugs, because I didn't see anything that would make me interested in the game that I haven't seen already. So, and look, you've got competition out there. You've got the Wrestling Code coming out from Virtual Basement. The AEW game is looming for next year, probably. So the WWE 2K combo here, they have something to prove here next year. They have to really give us an exceptional game that's even better than 2K19, which I thought was pretty good. That's why I'm still using it. But they have to go beyond that even, in my opinion. They really have to make this an exceptional quality game. If it's the same old, if it's the same old with the half-assing, if it's the limited abilities, if it's the same stuff that you've expected from 2K, then it's not going to do it. And I think that's where people are going to finally start not giving WWE their money into 2K because there's now options with video games now. So, and yes, it's Fire Pro 2. I want to do that for Mr. Joseph Matos as well, but I'm aware. Are you watching this Carl Anderson drama on Twitter? I think this guy is drunk. I don't know. What? Wait, what are you talking about? What's Carl Anderson doing? I have not seen anything. What did Carl Anderson do? Update me on that if you have a clue. But I am not aware of what Carl Anderson is doing. But maybe it's not the wise way to do it. Let's put it that way. Whatever that is. Who do you think will turn up in AEW first? Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, or Bray Wyatt? Look, I have been one of those guys that have been saying no to Daniel Bryan coming to AEW just because I predicted that he wouldn't do it, but it's quite clear that he's coming. So I would say Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, which he'll be. Finally, the American Dragon's back. Bryan will be coming first. Then Cole. And then, well, I don't even know if Bray Wyatt's coming. That's the thing. I do think at this point Bryan Danielson's coming. I do also think Adam Cole now is coming because things have changed. I think the way his girl Britt Baker was treated as a god in Pittsburgh, and then CM Punk coming back and coming to AEW, I think that really did a lot of change into Adam Cole's perspective of where he wants to go forward. I know WWE and WrestleMania is his dream, but it's time to wake up, dude. If you want to go there for money, fine, but look around you. Kind of see the temperature going around you right now. Things are changing very quickly, so I do see Cole coming to AEW. Bray Wyatt's 50-50. And quite frankly, if he's going to bring back a remixed version of the Fiend, like I said last week, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Bray Wyatt in AEW if he's going to bring back the Fiend or do some sort of revamped or remixed version of the Fiend. I don't care to see it. I don't want to see it. No buys. If he does some sort of cult leader, Cape Fear type of thing like he did before, I'm a little bit more willing to give it a chance. But, I mean, there's rumors that Bray Wyatt might be at Impact even now. So, who knows? But yeah, definitely Bryan, then Cole, and then it's 50-50 with Bray Wyatt at this point. So, your prediction on the next releases that Meltzer said will happen. I have not watched the new Wrestling Observer Radio yet. So Meltzer's already saying that we're getting new releases soon. I believe it. I know people kind of give shit to Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez for who they are and what they do. But more times than not, they're right. So people like him, Mike Johnson, Sean Ross Sapp, who I'm not even a fan of like that, as you all know. But, I mean, you have to give credit to him, John Alba. These guys have been on the money in terms of a lot of stuff that they leak and that they report. Right, Wade Keller. So if Dave and Brian are saying that there are more WWE releases coming, then I believe it. And you can see it. I mean, I just talked about the new NXT revamp. So we're nowhere close to done with the releases. I'm certain there's going to be a lot of cuts coming from NXT, maybe hopefully NXT UK finally, and probably some cuts from the main roster too. From terms of a talent perspective, it's going to be a complete revamp. So in terms of that, there will be cuts happening. Period. So it may happen tomorrow on SmackDown, or before SmackDown, like it usually does on Fridays. It might happen in the weekend. It might happen during All Out. It might happen on Raw next week. Who knows? But they're coming. They are coming in for sure. I do believe that. Let's see. A lot of questions here. Thank you very much, by the way. Thoughts on Roppongi 3K breaking up? It was a long time coming. Who is it? Show? No, not Show. Yo. It was the one with the knee injury, and the nagging injury. So they really want to push Show into something. So of course they had to break that up for what it is. Honestly, Roppongi 3K probably were well past their expiration dates. It's not like the tag team division, and it's not like the tag team division in New Japan is anything important, because they don't treat it as important. So, but yeah, Show and Yo, hopefully it's a really good match. But yeah, Show is gonna get the push, so we'll see where that goes. Favorite Tokyo Joshi Pro wrestlers at the moment. I do love Mayu, but I have to be honest, this current Princess of Princess title reign is doing nothing for me, I think. And I understand why they gave the title back to Mayu, because she's the ace. She is the franchise of that company. Cyber Agents pushing all their wrestling brands, so they want her to be champion during the festival, the Cyber Fight Festival in June. I get all that. But other than that, I felt the switch from Rika to Mayu earlier in the year, it just wasn't necessary. I thought Rika had a lot of juice to go as champion, and I just thought more could have been done with that. Now, Maki Ito, who's another favorite of mine, Maki Ito, who has improved tremendously this year. She's actually having good, if not very good, matches here in Tokyo Joshi and even AEW. Well, the match she had with Rio, but regardless. Maki was taking on Miyu for the title at Wrestle Princess 2. I believe after winning the Princess Cup that Maki should win it there. I think it's Maki's time. Look, you can't rely on Miyu, Yuka, and Shoko forever. You can't. You gotta start building up some new talent. You gotta start building up some new people. I mean, Maki's been there long too, but not compared to the ones that I mentioned. And Maki has the momentum. She has the Western fans' appeal. I'm assuming a lot of people that watch Tokyo Joshi from the West, a lot of that had to do with Maki Ito. And quite honestly, I would like to see Miyu do an excursion in the U.S., in particular with AEW. I think it's long overdue. Yuka did it, Maki did it, Shoko did it. It's her turn now. So I think it's time for Maki to win it. I think it's the right call to do it now. But yeah, those two are my favorites. I like Yuka. I joke around that she's big league Yuka because, I mean, you can tell Yuka when she's excited for a match, you'll tell. You can tell. And when she's kind of half-assed and not really willing to put her best effort forward, she's not into the match. But I like Yuka when she's motivated. Suzumi To me, the most improved wrestler of Tokyo Joshi this year. I think Suzumi has been really good. I liked her team with Mirai from B-Star. Really good stuff. I think she's going to be a main player, hopefully, down the road from Tokyo Joshi. Miyu Watanabe of Up Girls, man, I like her too, man. She's really good at what she's doing as well. I think an excursion for her in the U.S. would be very important for her. I think it would vastly improve what she can do in a bigger setting like an AEW. So I'd like to see her out there. Yeah, but those are some wrestlers. Those are some wrestlers that I like to watch from Tokyo Joshi for the record at the moment. So yeah, good question by the way. Where is Brian Kendricks? I don't know. I assume he's still being a coach in WWE, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm kind of tired of seeing Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows on my TV every week. I am too. I'm kind of over the Good Brothers. I know why they're there for AEW because they're part of the Super Elite. They got connected to the EVPs. I get all that, but I mean, Carl Anderson isn't that guy from a couple of years ago during the G1, and Doc Gallows. I mean, he's never been that great. He's just kind of coasted along with Carl Anderson and the Bullet Club to get him over certain matches. A lot of spots here and there, but he's never been like a great worker, let alone a great wrestler. So, yeah, I'm kind of over the Good Brothers too, but you know, they're there now. So, as long as they're not taking over the entire show, I can tolerate it. So, it's a compromise. Let's put it that way. I meant to ask you this when it first happened, but thoughts on Nikki Cross becoming Nikki Ash? Yeah, I mentioned it during the SummerSlam recap. It's doing nothing for Nikki. I don't care if creative or herself came up with this gimmick. It sucks. It's not as wholesome as the Hurricane and Mighty Molly. It's not even as good as Hyper Misao from Tokyo Joshi, another one that I do like, by the way. It's just not good. The whole point of it is to appeal to the kids, but I don't even think the kids, or at least the majority of them that watch it, I don't even think they're really that into this gimmick as well. She started to get boos. She became champion, and it didn't matter. And she became an even bigger geek as champion than she was without it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of Nikki Ash. I'm not saying you have to stick with Nikki Cross, if you will. All right, well then bring back Nikki Storm. How about that? Bring back Shimmer era Nikki Storm, the cocky heel that thought she was the best ever. That could work. It's not like you're doing anything else with her, so why not that? Do you think that Vince repeating history like he did in the early to mid-90s? Well, you got to think of it this way. Early to mid-90s, the man was close to bankruptcy with the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation. And he didn't have the record profits that he did now. So that's the difference. Like, WWE can do whatever they want today, and they're horrible at it, but they do have the record profits to where they are going to be solid for a decade. They're not going to go out of business financially for no reason whatsoever. They would have to truly and royally screw up to a very big level, an astronomical level, for them to go out of business at this point. For them to go out of business. They have the Saudi deal. They have the record billion-dollar profit deals with TV from USA and Fox, even though they're not happy with that company right now. They're solidified right now. But I will say yes, creatively and in terms of the business industry, yeah, they are definitely making a mistake. They're underestimating AEW. And with AEW, as long as AEW doesn't make any mistakes or doesn't self-sabotage themselves to a great degree like WCW and TNA did, they're not going anywhere. They are a viable, legitimate second promotion for wrestling. Quite frankly, since the WWE no longer considers itself as pro wrestling or really wants to be a part of that world, that realm, like I said, either New Japan or AEW should just go ahead and say, we are the #1 professional wrestling company in the world, period. They should go ahead and say it. And I think Tony Khan, I believe earlier today, said it. He basically said, we are the #1 wrestling company in the world today. There you go. Lean into that. Represent it. Embrace it. Because in a lot of ways, it's true. Let's see. Hakeem, this is my second time in Sacktown for Sack Anime. What's the best restaurant you ever ate in downtown? I'm dummy hungry. Wow. First of all, I have been to Sack Anime with my sister, so that was really cool. Good experience too. A lot of good people in there. Restaurants. If you want some really good pizza, you can go to Pyology downtown. There also used to be a Mexican restaurant called Alberto's, but they might have changed their name to like Carolinas or something like that. You'll have to ask around for that. I will say though, if you're going downtown, make sure you get there early and make sure you find a good parking space early, because if you get there like an hour before or less, you're not going to find a good parking space. You're going to be doing a lot of walking from your car to the event. So, I'm warning you now. But, yeah. Also, try out Sacramento. Some good, sports bars. And they got, Subway and pizza places there as well. So, check that out if you want to. But just a couple of places that I would check out. Best thing for Bray should do is to go to MLW in Japan. Where were you going in Japan? It's not like you would go to New Japan or Noah or even All Japan. What, maybe Big Japan? Maybe he does his own like produced show. Maybe Choco Pro. I'm fine with Bray Wyatt doing the job to make Shigura. It would have been Lulu Penta, but now she's with Emmy in the U.S., so it's whatever. If you had a company like NXT, how would you run it, and what would you do differently? If I had NXT, right? If I had NXT, I would make every match different. First of all, I'm kind of tired of the quote unquote "let epic" NXT style of wrestling. It gets tiring after a while. I'm not saying there's not a place in wrestling, but doing it in every takeover, every match in takeover, it gets tiring and boring. That's one thing I give credit to AEW. Whether it's a good or a bad match, they have different styles of wrestling. They have lucha, they have strong style, they have American wrestling, they have indie wrestling, they have lucha libre. They have spot fests, they have they have brawls, they have big men wrestling. They have a lot of different styles, so I like the variety of that. But that's what I would do, first of all. And second of all, I would treat it like, and this is what I do with AEW, I'm sorry, AEW. This is what I do with ACW, actually. This is actually a good question, actually, but this is what I do with ACW. You treat it like King's Road. You treat it like the SmackDown 6. You just take your you take your core set of people that you want to make stars. Get like 6 to 8 people, like 6 to 8 men, 6 to 8 women, and make sure they are not only protected, but they are taken care of for where you want them to go for the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Don't just throw them in a match here and a feud there just because you can do it or because you have no idea what you're doing. Like, plan ahead. Have a good 2 to 5 year plan for like your core 6 to 8 men and women, and build off of that. Set up the story arc. Set up the characters and their conflictions and how they have to deal with each and every feud and match, and make each and every one important. That's what I would do. That's why I liked FCW so much, because FCW did do a lot of that stuff. I mean, it's no surprise that Dusty Rhodes is running it as well, but I like that kind of stuff, and I like when AEW does that. Look at what they did with their young talent. Go back to year one. Go back to year one when they had Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Britt Baker, right? Compare them from year one and compare them to right now. It's night and day. It's not even close. It's not even close. They've all improved exponentially because there was time taken to make each and every single one of them either stars or potential stars. Period. That's what I would have done with NXT. And when NXT transitioned from FCW to NXT, they were doing that. They had Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Hideo Itami / Kenta, Kevin Owens, Pac, or Neville. I didn't forget his name is Neville now, but they had that. They kind of had that for a minute, and then it just became a who's that Pokemon game of who's the big star we can get worldwide, and then doing Super Indy cars that may or may not have mattered, and it got old after a while. Some still loved it, but it got old after a while for me. So that's what I would have done with NXT, in my personal opinion. Current opinion of Ring of Honor right now. I don't discount that they have really good to great wrestling still there, but I mean, it's just I have so much other wrestling that I follow and that I do have an emotional investment in that Ring of Honor doesn't really fit in there consistently. So my opinion is that they have still some good to great wrestling. They have good to great talent there, but nothing to make me really like watch it every week or follow it like I used to. So it's unfortunate. Thoughts on the Charlotte Nia Jax match that happened on Raw that turned into a shoot mid-match? I already addressed it earlier during the SummerSlam recap, but again, like I said, Nia Jax should be fired. If this was a company that didn't have connections protecting people, Nia Jax would have been fired a long time ago. Same woman that injured Charlotte before and injured her this week. Same woman that injured Kairi Sane. Same woman that injured Asuka and Sasha Banks. Enough is enough. A pattern becomes a pattern at the end of the day. She's not going to improve. She doesn't care to improve. And she feels like her shit don't stink because she's protected. Get rid of her. And Charlotte, look, I'm not really feeling sorry for Charlotte that much either, even though it was wrong for what Nia did. Because look, we all remember what Charlotte did to Kairi last year. And how probably that aided into the fact that, at TLC 2 years ago. And we kind of know what that did with, Kyrie's decision to, retire early at 31. And Charlotte hasn't really been the best at wrestling consistently. She doesn't care anymore. She's clearly there just to get a check and keep her spot, but she clearly has no incentive to care anymore. Why would she at this point? But yeah, that was an abomination. So there you go. I have no car, so I'm good at EV exercise. Well, happy to help. There you go. Out of all the ladies that are named, except for the Joker and the Casino Battle Royal, who do you consider to be the dark horse in that match at All Out? Well, dark horse would mean who do you think is the person that you wouldn't think to win it, but could potentially win it? And honestly, I think a Layla Hirsch. I could see a Layla Hirsch after having that really good match against Camille at NWA Empower, which I thought was a really solid show, by the way. But I think that match could have instilled some new confidence in her and some new interest in the company with AEW, to where I could see a Layla Hirsch win the whole thing. I don't think she is going to, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did win it. I know others will say Jade and Ty Conti, but they're like expected to maybe win it. I think nobody's expecting for a Layla Hirsch to win, but I could see it. I can see it. Do you think there's gonna be another company in the USA that's gonna make a run at AEW to become a third major player? Yeah, a lot of talk about like a third major promotion on the level of AEW, if not WWE, coming in to be a problem. And I want to say yes, but one, who would be who? Here's the thing: if you as proven with history, you can't just get a person with a lot of money to run a wrestling business if they don't necessarily know or care about it. You know what I mean? The reason why it works with Tony Khan with AEW is because he's us. Tony Khan is a wrestling fan. He's a true, knowledgeable wrestling fan that has a lot more money than all of us combined, but also has the business savvy to do good business. That's why it works with Tony in AEW. Can you really guarantee to have a third promotion, a third major promotion with a guy like Tony Khan that has the business savvy and wrestling fandom and is able to balance those things to have a viable third promotion? Because it's going to have to be a new promotion. It can't be Impact. I mean, I know Impact has gotten better in many ways, and I know Impact's under new management that's actually good compared to the years past, but it's damaged goods. It's damaged goods. Ring of Honor, same thing, quite frankly. MLW, as long as you have Court running the business in MLW, you're never going to have that be a viable promotion, in my opinion. NWA. When's the NWA been relevant unless this past weekend with Empower? You know? New Japan. You know, before the pandemic, they weren't really, like, selling hotcakes in the West here in the U.S., so if it's going to be a third viable promotion, it's going to be a very new one that no one sees coming. And I don't know who or what that's going to be, but can it happen? Sure. Will it happen? I don't know. I really don't know. Wrestling question this time. Do you think New Japan should just do condensed tours that last 2 to 3 weeks to avoid any type of COVID outbreaks like they've been affecting the last 2 long tours? I could reason with that. I think it's about time maybe that for at least the talent to let them do shorter tours and get them recharged and recovered and, you know, kind of scope the scenery in terms of how the COVID outbreaks happening in Japan, because what we went through last year, they're going through right now, basically. So, but this month, apparently, the state of emergency is supposed to be lifted, but they could always extend it to another month or two, so that's nothing to be new. But we'll see. We will see, but I wouldn't argue that. I really would not argue that plan of that. I really wouldn't. Keep Nia, free the Joshis. Yeah, well, you know, I'm not against that either. Kaya retired? What the fuck? Well, all right. Well, retired, not technically retired, but at least she's no longer wrestling in WWE, but she's still contracted to WWE, doing, like, you know, special events and live commentary for WWE in Japan. But like I mentioned during NXT, the NXT portion of the show, the subsidiary of WWE Japan basically dissolved tonight. So hopefully that means Kairi can finally have a purpose to bust out of there and finally leave. I know Kenny Omega said before that Kairi was her number one woman pick in AEW, so that would be a great way for her to come in. I could see a return to Stardom, maybe. Who knows? Who really knows what Kairi wants to do if she's able to leave? Ready for your Broncos to lose to my Giants? Nah, I'm confident. Although Bridgewater kind of concerns me, but I'm confident. Let's see, to be honest, Hakeem, I agree with Layla Hirsch, but also I see Anna Jay fitting the dark horse role. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Anna Jay returned last night on Dynamite, but yeah, I guess she could be a dark horse too, but yeah, you know what, now that I'm thinking of it, I could see Anna Jay being a dark horse. I could see it. So, we'll find out. We'll see. We will see about that. And that looks like all the questions for me tonight, so there you have it. Oh, Train Wreck, that is Madden 22. I haven't been following Madden 22. I haven't been following the Madden series for years, so I don't know what's going on with Madden, but I guess I'll read up on it, but I have no idea what's going on with that game, so. Kairi's pretty much a spokeswoman for the WWE on the Japanese side of business. Yep, that's basically her role, but hopefully she's able to bust out there. yeah, that'll do it for the newscast here, I believe. Once again, thank you all very much for joining me for the 112th episode of the newscast. Big night for, big weekend for wrestling with New Japan's Wrestle Grand Slam and AEW's All Out. So we'll see how things transpire with those two events going forward. But yeah, that'll be the newscast. I'll let you guys know about the new newscast when I am able to let you guys know about that. ACW, once again, once I can balance things, I will get back to the side of things. High Voltage is basically almost finished. I just have to put things together. That's the only hold up. But the matches are basically done. So, but yeah. Other than that will do it. I will smoke another WWE Japan pack because those are more refreshing than Newports, clearly. Until then, this is me, Hakeem Johnson, signing off, telling you all to